Making your way in the world today takes everything you've got. Taking a break from all your worries sure would help a lot. Wouldn't you like to get away? Sometimes you wanna go where everybody knows your name, and they're always glad you came. You wanna be where you can see our troubles are all the same. You wanna be where everybody knows your name. You wanna go where people know people are all the same. You wanna go where everybody knows your name.
Wow, the music's so ominous.
Yeah, I wonder why.
It's trying to tell us something.
Ready to get started?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Virgil headed to the Kobold Quarter to Slinks' house.
Yes.
The Kobold Quarter again. You were just there not that long ago, and the same kind of energy is in the air. There's aggressiveness. The shadows just seem a little bit longer. The air is a little bit cooler, and you get to Slinks' house where you see the nice mark you made in the door when you stuck your dagger there.
I will knock on the door.
The door opens a crack, and you see Slink himself peek his head out. And when he sees you, kind of just flashes you this smile, but you're used to seeing Slink smile at you, but this one's like a little bit more sinister. It looks like he's just done something, like he's when your dog does something you don't like.
Spit it out, Slink.
Yeah. Hello, sir.
Hey, Slink, I just wanted to come check on you and the kids. You doing okay?
Never been better, sir. Do you want to come in?
Yeah, I'll come in.
He opens the door, motions for you to come in, and as you walk into this small house that houses the 12 kids and Slink and his wife, you see the dagger you gave to Mrs. Slink in the middle of the floor. It's got like dried blood on it.
I'll pick it up.
Upon closer inspection, it's got dark black blood that is like congealed and thick.
Slink, you been doing any hunting?
That's from when they came and took my wife.
You mean Thorn and his men?
See,
Who got stabbed?
one of the Blackwood men. He tried to take my wife. She stabbed.
I think that's fair. Do you know anything about why she got taken, Slink? What do you know? I like to make an insight check on Slink as he...
Yeah, go for it. As you make that insight check, he says, well, she and 3 others, they killed the dwarf, young Iron Fist.
And you know this to be true?
She told me she did it.
Why?
Because he would torture my children in the mines to work faster and work harder and dig and dig and dig and dig. So she and 3 others killed him.
When did she tell you this, Slink?
Yesterday.
Had she ever mentioned it prior to yesterday?
No.
Does it make sense to you that she would have killed Iron Fist?
He flashes you this just wicked grin and smiles and says,
Did anything else happen yesterday before she told you this? Something out of the ordinary? Did she go anywhere, say anything, talk to anybody?
no, only thing strange in town yesterday was you came back from trip, Thorn woke up, Warforged came and attacked. A lot of strange, now that I think about it. Nice strange.
Why not strange? Like,
Chaos. Chaos.
when did you start liking chaos so much? I mean, don't get me wrong, I'm a chaos guy myself, but it seems like we're both reacting differently to the chaos.
I think I always liked it, Mr. Virgil, but I think I finally woke up.
Yeah, I've had a similar experience. Hey, Slink,
Mm-hmm.
where are your kids?
Getting dinner at
Did
the
they go
Flint and
hunting?
Steel. No, at Flint.
Oh, they went at Flint. Okay.
See, the oldest
Uh,
finally can look after them. It takes a big load off me now that wife is gone.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Slink,
She'll
do
be
you,
back.
like, I don't know if you understand the gravity of your wife's situation.
It is how we do things in Kabara. When we are wronged, we take action. That is the law.
You're not wrong there, but do you know what happens to murderers in Cabrera? They usually get put to death, Slink.
That is the way of this land.
You're certain, and I would like to make an insight check, that she killed Iron Fist?
Give me an insight check.
Okay. 17.
She told me that she did it. And you can see that when he says that, he's strong in his conviction.
Link, do you mind if I look around?
Okay.
Just make an investigation check, kind of as Virgil goes through the house, looking for anything that would have, so he can start connecting dots of why all of a sudden she confessed and what's going on. 12. Should I do one for like each room?
It's just one room.
Or just one room? Oh yeah, they live in like a hut, huh?
As you get a better look around, you're kind of rooting around looking. There's tiny claw scratches all over the floor, and it's like a well-kept home, but it's chaos because there's 10 kids. The beds are just like piles of old furs and just crammed into corners and under shelves. It's clear that just the chaos of raising so many kids has its challenges. The furniture is pretty sparse, but everything looks as you would expect a kobold's accommodations to look with so many people in one house.
All right, Slink, I'm gonna get going, and I'm gonna pick up the dagger.
Goodbye, Mr. Virgil.
Goodbye, Slink. And I'll walk out.
As you leave Slink's house, it's kind of like in a bit of an alley. Houses on the other side, and down at the end of the alley you see a man standing there. He's about 50 feet from you. And he's dressed in kind of patchwork armor, leathers, and he's got a blue cloak, and there's a grizzly on his breastplate, and he has a kind of like a musketeer hat, dressed in blue. You can't quite see his face. He's just standing there.
A musketeer hat?
Yeah.
Is it a familiar hat?
I mean, you've seen similar hats, but this one is not exactly ringing a bell.
Would walk towards him.
As you approach and get like maybe within 30 feet, he does kind of tip his hat up, but he's wearing a mask. His face is obscured.
Okay.
But he does say in a familiar voice, "Howdy, Sheriff." Give me a perception check.
All right. 10.
Yeah, on a 10, you're pretty sure the voice belongs to Ondare Red.
I would immediately unsling Peacekeeper.
Ooh, getting right down to business, eh, Sheriff?
Mm,
What if I just want to talk?
so talk.
Well, you kind of see his hands are like, his hands like doing that. He's like wiggling near his holster of his wands.
Yeah.
But he's not going for it. It's been a while. I missed you, Virgil.
Can't say I felt the same on Dear Red. We parted on pretty negative terms.
Unfinished terms.
Unfinished terms.
Where's your sheriff star there, Sheriff?
Seems as of today, I'm no longer a lawman.
Really?
That's the rumor.
No longer a lawman. So where does that leave us?
As I remember, you and your little posse tried to kill me. Lawman or no, I don't forget things like that.
Yeah, I don't suppose you would. Well,
You seem like a somewhat intelligent individual. I would say coming back to this town, you would remember that. So what brings you back here, Ondare?
give me a perception check at disadvantage.
All right, 9.
You don't hear anything, but he says, "Well, you killed a lot of my boys back there at the ruins. You and Ravensteel and Carlotta and the rest. Some of those boys had brothers and friends, and that's not something that people like us forget, Virgil. Guess I came back to start what I finished. Finish what I started."
I suppose you would forget something like that. So, finish it.
He pulls out his wand.
I angle Peacekeeper, pointed toward his chest.
So you didn't notice it before, Virgil, but behind you, 4 black pit boys have stepped into the alley, and on the roofs on either side of you, they're like peaked roofs, and on the other sides there's black pit boys emerging from the roof, all with their wands and crossbows aimed at you. I need to know your armor class and how many hit points you have.
My armor class is 17. Currently, I'm at full health. I have 55 hit points, but I am not raging.
Oof.
You didn't seem like the type to handle business yourself.
No, I didn't want to leave anything up to chance this time around, Virgil.
Smart man.
He lifts up his wand. These black pit boys behind you and on the roofs beside you, you didn't see them coming, so they have a surprise round on you.
All right.
All of them fire simultaneously. Wow, a lot of them hit. You take over 60 damage.
I am down.
That's a lot of damage!
10 guys, 7 of them shot you all at once. But let's just say you drop to a knee,
Okay.
taking all of these shots. Virgil, you're just riddled with blasts and fire bolts and crossbow bolts. Your vision starts to fade a little bit, and you see Onder Red. He walks up to you. He kind of grabs you by the hair and puts his face quite close to yours. He says, I came prepared this time, Virgil. Made sure you were alone. Didn't want to leave anything up to chance.
Virgil would very weakly say, "You better make sure you kill me."
He puts his wand right in your chest, right over your heart, where this demon shard is embedded, though he doesn't know that. And he just says, I will, Virgil. It was a pleasure. And he shoots right into your chest, right into your heart. And everything goes black. Ocho.
Anyway.
When we left you, Ocho, you were just reading a line out of this ancient book to Sublime. And she kind of asked you, like, is there anything else? And as you're reading the book, you come to one last kind of line that's standing out to you in this section about Masvirek and Rashok, this black dragon. And it says, it's a strange little piece in that, like, you know, this was kind of a coherent text, but this text just seems strangely out of place. It doesn't really make sense and that's kind of why you're drawn to that particular line. And it says, in the shadow of eternal twilight, where moonlight bends to fairy wills, lies a blade of silver flame, forged from the blood of the dragon above. Bound by oath and lost to time, the hand that claims it shall sever both dragon and fiend. In the heart of the endless spring beyond the veil of dreams, it waits, hidden, where none may tread, but those whom the prophecy marks.
Ocho takes a deep gulp because he thinks he recognizes the sword. Anyone in the room?
Sublime, yeah. She's kind of asking you, like, is there anything else? Anything else that we need to know?
Ocho just looks at this passage that he just read. And he thinks, like, you know, I've got to get this back to the group. A lot of stuff in here that they need to know.
Do you share that piece of do you share that with Sublime, this last piece?
I don't translate that for her, no.
Hey. We need to talk about our business arrangement at some point, Ocho, but I need to think on all this information. Can I have that book? I really need Atari's research and as much information as possible.
Yeah, Ocho takes one more look at it, Control-C it, and
yeah,
closes the book and hands it to her.
Thank you. Again, we have to stop them, Ocho. We can't let this darkness come. She gives you a smile and just a quick kiss on your cheek, and then she rushes out.
Joe watches her leave and thinks, like, oh, I didn't tell her the start time. She doesn't know what time to be here for opening. Like, oh man, totally thinking that she's the newest employee. But then Ocho would make his way to the bar.
Okay. So at the bar, Carlotta, Beren is just about to leave to go talk to Thorn after your conversation.
I think before he leaves, I would like to ask him to give me the Aldrich confession. I want to make a copy of it.
I thought you trusted me with this.
I do. I don't trust Thorn. He's proven he's willing to cut corners to get what he thinks is right. There's no one you can trust less than a man convinced of his own righteousness. I don't want to believe he's far gone enough to attempt a cover-up or destruction of evidence of a major crime, but we need to be vigilant. I don't want to find out by losing the only thing that we have to prove that the kobolds didn't do it.
So, in honor of your 32 persuasion last time, and the fact that I know you can't roll like less than a 20, he
Less than a
said-
22.
he says, "I trust you," and he gives you the confession.
Can I make like a performance check to try and copy it? Would that be sleight of hand? What do you want me to roll?
Sure, let's go with performance.
That's a dirty 20.
Sorry, who? It was Aldrich who wrote this in his own hand originally, right?
Yes. I want to try and copy his handwriting as best as I can.
A 20 will do it very well. You do know that Aldrich used to be a soldier under Thorn, so he would, have some familiarity with Aldrich's handwriting. Under maybe like intensely close scrutiny, this may not hold up, but again, Thorn hasn't seen this man's handwriting in years, so it's like an extremely long shot.
Yeah, I will give the copy to Beren and keep the original.
Okay.
And then before Beren leaves, I'm also going to say, I want the evidence to be safe, but I'm asking you to take care of yourself as well. I don't know what Silver Flame did when they brought Thorn back, but he's definitely not the Thorn that I've known while I've been in Hope's Edge. I'm just not sure if he's the Thorn you knew in the army either.
That's the thing that scares me, is I think he is.
What do you think the Thorn that you once knew would do if we give him this?
His loyalty to his own men knows no bounds. I don't know.
I think perhaps it might be a good idea to make sure that you give it to Thorn when he's in the presence of Solara. She also seems utterly self-righteous, but I don't think she's the type to do the same sorts of cover-ups that Thorn would.
Yeah, we'll see about that. And he turns to go. As he leaves, Ocho, you see Beren leaving, and Carlotta, you kind of hear it. You hear a group of horsemen kind of riding down the main street, and you see a group of the Black Pit boys that have been around town, and they're not like hightailing it, but they're riding fairly quickly, and they're heading out of town.
Ocho sees that. Are they coming from the direction of the Kobold Quarters?
No, they're just riding down the main street, headed towards the exit from town.
Ocho notes that and thinks like, okay, they're leaving. What did they do? And goes inside. And the first thing he would ask,
Any word from Virgil?
The only thing I've heard from Virgil is that he's no longer the sheriff of Hope's Edge.
Ocho shakes his what?
Yes,
¿Qué pasa?
a lot has happened this morning. Apparently, Thorn decided that Virgil stabbing him in the chest in front of the entire town was suitable cause to remove the sheriff's star from our sheriff. I'm a little worried about how Virgil's taking it. He said he was going to go speak with Slinks' family, I believe. And he also said he intended to break something. So...
Ocho's too excited to tell Carlotta about Sublime. Sublime's back.
Really?
Yep, she broke into my office.
She what?
Yep. Walked in. She was there. It's okay.
Congratulations.
We're fighting the evil together.
Is this the same evil we've been fighting, or did she bring a new evil?
Ocho would think. He's like, well, there's lots of evils, but her evil is by the lake.
Oh. As a fire genasi, I do my best to avoid the lake, so whatever's near there probably needs killing.
But she said she would help me if I help her, so we read a book.
You have this book?
And then Ocho points to his head. I have all the books.
Excellent. Alright, I think Virgil probably ought to be included in that conversation, especially if he's in a breaking things mood. I'm sure he'll love to hit some evil. I'll go ahead and send him a message, and I'll cast the message cantrip. So I'll just point toward the Kobold Quarter and say, Virgil dear, we found you something to hit. If you've gotten yourself arrested in the 15 minutes since you were sheriff, do let us know. And yeah, I think that's about 25 words.
No reply from Virgil.
Yeah, Carlotta's gonna look at Ocho and say, Virgil loves complaining and he did not respond. I think we probably ought to look into that.
Ocho just kind of nods his head and starts running.
Carlotta kind of sighs and hikes up her skirt and runs too, like, okay, I guess we're going quickly.
Virgil. The world fades around you. Pain surging through your body as your blood seeps into the cold earth. Darkness creeps into the edges of your vision, and for a moment you hover between life and death, the void calling to you. But something else stirs in that darkness, something ancient and vile. A figure steps forward, emerging from the shadows, cloaked in black. So weak, so fragile, Virgil. Look at you. Left to die like a dog, bleeding out in the dirt. He kind of circles you, and his presence is suffocating. You think you can avenge Garrick's murder? Think you can stop me? Couldn't save him, could you? Couldn't save any of them. But I can help you, Virgil. I can make you strong again. Stronger than you've ever been. You can already feel it. You've already started the process. It's in your heart. He extends a hand from his cloak, and within it, there's a dusk shard pulsing faintly. It's black and silver light, flickering with power. The air around it hums, cold and sharp. Take it, Virgil. Embrace it. And all this weakness, this pain, it'll fade. With this, you can do more than avenge Garrick. You can crush those who wronged you. Bend them to your will. And you can stop me. The vision warps, and suddenly you see flashes of power and your hand gripping the shard, and its dark energy is seeping into your veins. It's making you faster, stronger, unstoppable. You see the man in black with his sword through Garrick's heart, and then you see him helpless beneath your feet, crushed by your newfound strength. His voice echoes again as the vision starts to fade. Take the shard, Virgil. Take the power. Or die, like the weakling you are.
Can Virgil respond? What's the cost?
Everything. And your eyes flash open. You feel the cold dirt of the alley. There's a presence near you with dark purple eyes staring right at you. You see Virgil, a midnight black, just as black as onyx, a wolf. It walks up to you, kneels before you, where you're lying on the ground in a pool of your own blood, and it nuzzles you. And as it does, two things happen. You benefit from the effects of a long rest, and you learn the spell Find Familiar. This black wolf is kneeling beside you, looking at you as if it recognizes a master.
Start to get up and kind of take in my surroundings.
You see... Exactly. You see your own blood on the ground, and you see at the end of the street Slinks' house, and all around you there's like blasting from the fire bolts and the eldritch blast that were hurled at you, and there's a few crossbow bolts laying around you.
Virgil would like start to check himself. Would he find anything out of the ordinary?
Your clothes don't look good, like you can see where you were shot, but the skin beneath bears no signs of any damage.
Right. And then he would turn his attention to the wolf.
It kind of cocks its head and looks at you with these eyes that just seem to shift between crimson and violet. And you can see that it's getting late, very late, and it's almost as if this wolf melts into the shadows, barely distinguishable from the night, but you can see it clearly. And the air around it is a little bit colder than the air anywhere else.
You're an interesting creature, but I will have to deal with that when we leave here. Virgil would get it back up to his feet and start making his way to the flint and steel.
Yeah, I'd say as you leave the Kobold Quarter and head towards kind of the main street, you run right into Carlotta and Ocho.
He catches up to you and stops, sees your clothing just tattered, and
You didn't answer the message.
What message?
and then he turns his head to Carlotta, catching up.
Now Carlotta's running in heels and not happy about it. Sheriff, what? You are covered in blood. That had better be someone else's. Gonna
No.
start patting Virgil's chest, checking underneath all the tears in his clothes for where are you bleeding from? Where do I heal you?
I mean, I feel fine, but I shouldn't be fine.
That is a statement that needs a lot more context and probably a little bit of alcohol.
I agree with you. Alcohol it is.
Let's go in through the back of the Flint. I think you're probably not up for telling all the people that are currently in the middle of drinking that you're no longer the sheriff, and I don't want to have to explain why you're covered in blood. Let's go.
I'm gonna need another shirt.
Isn't that one a loner?
I don't think they will want it back.
Yeah.
When we're walking back, Ocho would constantly be looking over her shoulder. Be like, do we know this fellow?
I think Carlotta was so focused on Virgil that she probably didn't notice until Ocho brought it up, and then she turns around and says, "Oh, Virgil, is this a friend of yours?"
He's been following me ever since I got up. He seems friendly enough, and then Virgil would hold out his hand.
But Ocho would quickly put out his hand first and say, "So can we keep him?"
There's something strange about that animal. Virgil, I don't know that keeping him is the best thing, but...
Ocho really eagerly, he's squatting down and really tapping his knees. Come on, come here, buddy, come here.
Yeah, Carlotta taps Virgil on the arm and says, "Oh, please, there's something strange about you and we keep you."
Well, that's true.
I'm gonna look meaningfully at the evil dragon shard in his chest.
Virgil would just say, "Dog, come here."
It better not be his name.
It would look at you, Virgil, and wag its tail.
Okay, that's a start. Ocho will take that.
All right, let's go. I need a drink.
And a shirt, but these things happen in stages.
Drink first, shirt second. Order of operations.
Yes, I'm well aware.
So Ondir Red's back in town.
Actually, I think Ondir Red has just left town.
Well, I'll need to track him down.
We take this to mean that Ondir Red was directly involved in you being covered in your own blood?
Him and about 15 of his friends. I could have taken Ondir Red one-on-one.
I'm sure.
Ocho makes a mental note.
As we walk to
Anyway.
the front, I'm just gonna kind of keep asking Virgil, like, details what happened. Leave out.
I was checking on Slink, who, by the way, is surprisingly put together for his wife just being arrested and on the murder of a pretty infamous dwarf. Also, he's off. You guys are getting that sense, right? Something's up with that.
Yes, I'm thinking that there's some sort of influence acting on the kobolds, but I don't know enough about kobold culture to know why it's happening or if it's normal.
I don't know either. He just doesn't seem like the same old Slink. Also, is it just, are we buying that Slink's wife killed Iron Fist? Slink said that she just told him about it yesterday.
I know why Slink different.
Why is that?
You guys arrive. It's getting late. You guys like slept in a lot today, and there's been a lot going on. There's still a bit of a crowd, but it is starting to file out as it's a work night. Yeah.
Carlotta will usher everybody into the back room, pour Virgil a double, and probably attempt to scrounge up a shirt for him from somewhere, at least a poncho.
I'm sure Beren left with some clothes.
Yeah, I get the sense that might be a little bit awkward to explain, so I'll try to find something that isn't Baron's.
Dang, I was hoping that would happen, but
I mean, I can definitely roll to see if I'm able to find something, because Carlotta's focus would be on finding something fast, not finding something convenient.
sure, yeah, give like an investigation check. How many sets of male clothes would Carlotta have lying around?
I think she'd probably have, like, a decent amount of stuff just from the number of people who take their shirts off to get in fistfights.
That's fair. That's a very realistic.
Okay, yeah.
Lost
I
and
rolled
found
a
is
4,
back.
so Jesse's getting Baron's shirt that straight up looks like something he would wear all the time.
Yeah, I will honor the fact that was a really good point, and the Flint and Steel would have an extensive lost and found bin, so if you want to get something out of there, Virgil, for sure.
When boots are left under the bed, that's when eyebrows are raised.
Yeah, I think Carlotta just grabs the first thing she finds, but on that 4 investigation, it could definitely be Baron's. It's up to you.
No, we'll just say, yeah, we'll say Virgil gets some clothes, and they fit well, and he looks good. You know what? Let's say it is all black. How does Virgil look in all black?
Pretty good. Not gonna lie.
Does he feel
Black's
good?
his color. He feels good.
Oh shit.
He feels great, actually.
Does the dog come into the bar and the back room with us?
Yep, it'll go anywhere Virgil goes unless Virgil tells it not to. And Virgil, again, you can give it commands verbally, but as long as it's within 100 feet, you can also give it commands telepathically.
I guess Virgil would kind of just instinctively feel that, right?
Oh yeah.
He would just kind of feel like he could think. Curious about that, he would give it the sit command.
It sits.
Good dog.
Carlotta's not really used to dogs, so she kind of looks from the dog to Virgil and says, "Would your dog like something to drink?"
Probably just some water.
That's what I thought you'd say.
I don't think we're supposed to give dogs alcohol.
Well, not all animals can be better, Ravensteel, I suppose.
That's fair.
Carlotta, when you give it water and it kind of smells you, it kind of growls a bit. It goes,
Carlotta's hair like steams up a little bit, and her eyes kind of glow red.
Whoa, you don't growl at her. I'll growl at you.
Thank you, Ocho.
it kind of it yips like a little bit happily at Ocho.
I'd get in between them.
I'm gonna sit pretty far from the dog and go, cultural differences, I suppose. Would I notice the fact that the dog is like noticeably cold?
Yes.
Alright, yeah, I don't like that.
Funny.
Just personal preference, but also it reminds me of the shard in Virgil's chest.
So as the hour's growing late, what are you guys all doing in the back room of the Flint?
Well, Ocho would want to inform everybody about the information that he learned in Atari's book. So he would then kind of take them through what he learned about how the Masvirik, the cold sun, and how there is an ancient black dragon that is kind of controlling them, potentially Tiamat from the city of Hakatura, and then I sneeze.
Bless you.
And then I would tell them that these dragons have the power to control lesser life forms. And then I would put in quotation marks the hard-skinned, the scale-skinned.
And it specifically said Masvirik alone has the power to bend kobolds and lizards and scaled creatures to his will.
You think that includes green?
He was a
Bend.
dragonborn.
Yeah,
that-
I think
Sorry,
Dragonborn
excuse
probably
my
have like a
ignorance.
stronger tolerance.
Okay. I was about to say,
Kobolds
I
are-
mean, scaled. I would think that includes Dragonborn. You guys don't think so?
I think that would make sense, but I would also think that if something's happening gradually, it would happen to the kobolds first. They're
Yeah,
physically smaller and mentally,
weaker.
well, let's not get particular.
Ocho just says it
Makes
weaker.
sense.
Doesn't
Yes,
have the,
thank you,
the,
Ocho. So if something's happening gradually, I think that's where we'd start to see it. I think we might already be seeing it.
and we're seeing it. So Ocho proposes the idea that stopping the dragon shards might be too late, but we've already started the avalanche. Potentially.
Yes, I think with the amount of mining that Hope's Edge has done, this might not be a avert disaster, but a mitigate disaster type of situation. I'm not even sure how we would do that. How do you convince dwarves to stop mining?
The,
Convince us to stop breathing.
asking the sun to stop rising.
Yes, we get it. It's very difficult.
Not to interrupt,
Asking
but one
the-
thing I'll say just really quick is that Green, what he said to you in parting was that the Poison Dusk are fighting the Cold Sun Alliance. And the Cold Sun Alliance, the translation to Draconic is Masvirak Uala. The Poison Dusk were fighting them. They were going to war with them.
Well, my inclination might be to just let the two different groups of our enemies fight it out. Let them weaken each other.
And I probably would venture to guess that Poison Dusk would 100% ruthlessly go through this town if we come across them.
Ocho agrees with that, but he also says, we also haven't talked to them.
That's true. We do have the best talker in Kabara. So
I have been working on my Draconic,
it's worth a shot.
but I think even that would probably be a temporary measure. It wouldn't be a solution. I can talk people out of a lot of things, but not out of their deeply held personal and religious beliefs. Believe me, I'm working on it.
Religion's a tricky one to talk people out of.
Yes, but apparently quite easy to talk people into. Perhaps we could
Tell
give
me
that a
about it.
try. I wouldn't mind being a cult leader.
There's money in that, I've heard.
Yes, that's what I hear. we think that the sword that we have is this sword? Or do you think there's a second one?
Ocho would just like nod, like, I think it's this one.
That would be convenient. I don't know if we're that lucky.
The sword's here, right? Baron's sword?
No, Beren has it.
Baron has it? Okay.
I think I have a way we can get it.
I'm gonna convince the Chosen One to give up his weapon.
I think I could get him to put it down for a few hours.
Hmm.
If you'd like more details, I can go in more depth.
No, that's okay. But I do think we should get it. And quickly.
Alright, what do we want to tell Beren about this?
Next to nothing.
Maybe a fire genasi, but I don't particularly like burning bridges.
I think Baron's shown where his loyalties lie.
I think Beren has shown himself vulnerable to manipulation, like some people who stabbed the mayor in front of the entire town.
Virgil would raise his finger like he was going to argue back and then go, all right.
But I think he genuinely wants to do the right thing, and currently I think he likes all of us fairly well.
I don't think Beren particularly cares for me at the moment.
Yes, but we all know that goes back and forth. Give it a week.
This one feels a bit more sticky. We'll see.
So, are we in agreement that we have sword in question? Well, technically, it's in Hope's Edge.
Yeah, I suppose that's a good enough place to start. What are we going to do about the mining?
I was hoping one of you might have some ideas.
Well, we could start a war with the dwarves.
Joe, do you have any ideas?
Ocho, like, big boom.
Yeah, see, Ocho agrees with me.
I don't think that we should start a war with the dwarves. However,
No.
I'm not
Big,
opposed to
big
someone
boom in
starting a
mines.
war with the dwarves. Maybe that war starts with an explosion in the mines.
Blame Black Pit Boys.
That could be arranged.
Like that idea.
Need to find them. Get a few incriminating details. Or potentially, I could just talk them into blowing up the mine, convince them it's in the best interest of the Black Pits.
We need to at least put a halt on the Dragon Shard mining. If not permanently stop it.
I think halting it should be our first priority. I think stopping it altogether will be a more difficult and potentially time-consuming measure. And to become abundantly clear that time is not something we have in abundance.
Ocho, can you give me a intelligence roll? Just a flat d20 with your intelligence modifier.
Ooh, okay. Inspiration that? Inspiration that. Okay, so 10.
10. Completely average. As you're drifting away from the conversation topic of the sword, something just tugs at you a little bit. The passage that you control seed, that you can see whenever you want. It says, in the shadow of eternal twilight, where moonlight bends to fairy wills, lies a blade of silver flame. I guess just the last thing I'll say is that rune you found the sword in, it did not seem like the heart of Endless Spring beyond the Veil of Dreams. Like, there's no connection to that you're making on a 10.
So does Ocho communicate that whole passage to us?
For sure.
Could I make, I guess, a history check to see if I remember anything about, like, the spring, or any of the other terms associated with this sword from the book, in the cave where we found the actual sword that we've got?
Yep. Yeah, give it a history check.
It's a 17.
Yeah, again, I think you're making the connection that, like, the environments that are being described do not fit the ruins where you found the sword called Vigilance. That being said, Carlotta, you've interacted with Ironbark and the Greensinger druids that live closer to the lake. You know, they're members of this community as well. This lake it's common knowledge that it's a manifest zone to Thelanis. Its walls between the plains is very thin. And you know that this Ironbark, he I think I sent the picture at one point. He has like roses all over his body. And the Greensingers, they don't necessarily worship Fae, but they embrace the Fae lifestyles, yeah. And you know that, for what this may be worth, Ironbark has mentioned that an Archfey of Thelanis kind of, there's some maybe form of communication between Ironbark and an Archfey, and he claims that the Archfey is called the Queen of Roses.
Interesting. Well, I hate to say it, but I'm not certain that we have the sword in question. I think it might be to our benefit to speak to the Greensinger druids, Ironbark in particular. If this is related to Fae and Thelanis, they might know something. They will almost definitely know more than we know.
Seems like everybody knows more than we know.
Yes, that is a really unpleasant thing that I'm finding.
There's a knock at the door.
Oh, okay. I'll go get it.
It's Nelly.
Miss Nelly, what's going on?
I'm really sorry. I know you said no interruptions. Well, you didn't specifically say that, but I know when you go in the back room with Ocho and Virgil, it's no interruptions.
Yes, go ahead. What is it?
Beren's back. He wanted to
Is
talk to you. All of you.
All of us. Well, that's convenient. All right, send him in.
When Beren comes in, he looks exhausted, just tired. Like Carlotta, you know that he just already looked tired earlier in the day. He'd been having like an extremely long, extremely stressful day. Just looks exhausted.
I'm gonna guide him over to one of the chairs.
Yeah, he'll walk towards a chair, but he'll stay standing. I went to have a chat with somebody, and they were busy. I just kind of, I was sitting in a chair waiting, and I nodded off, fell asleep, and I've told all of you before that I get dreams and visions from the silver flame. And I had one, and you three were sitting just like you are right now in this room. And he draws this ancient inscribed sword with draconic inscriptions all over it. He pulls it out, and it starts to glow and sheds light around the room. And he just places it on the table. In the dream, you all were sitting here just like this, and I was standing here, and the sword was on the table just like it is now.
Ocho stands up.
Okay, so we've deviated from the dream. Thanks, Ocho.
Anything else happen in the dream, or was it just us all standing or sitting around the sword?
We were just all around the sword. The only difference now is that Ocho's standing.
You sure something like this didn't happen? And then Virgil would unsheath Peacekeeper and bring the axe blade right down on the middle of the sword.
Virgil!
Give me a damage roll, Virgil.
All right. 14.
So your Peacekeeper is now infused with the essence of a dusk shard, and there's when you swing the axe down and it hits the sword, this black energy lashes out, and it fights back against this radiant energy of the sword. But Peacekeeper wins out, and the sword on the table shatters, and the hilt breaks. Blinding flash of radiant and cold light.
I'm going to draw a dagger and hold it up to, behind Virgil and say, put Peacekeeper down.
Beren has his wand out, and it's pointed right at Virgil. Virgil, what the fuck?
Was that in your dream?
Put the weapon down.
I'll drop Peacekeeper on the table.
As you drop Peacekeeper on the table, you see in this blade, when you hit it, it just shattered into bits. But now you see in the center of the table, almost as if it was embedded in the hilt of the blade, there's a small dawn shard, this white dragon shard with orange veins running through it. And there's a small dusk shard, this gray shard with dark energy. And there's also a small pyramid made of obsidian, and it has inscriptions on every side.
You guys want to keep pointing weapons at me, or you want to check those things out?
I think we can multitask. Ocho, would you please take Peacekeeper to the other side of the room?
Ocho will go and grab Peacekeeper and then also kind of sweep up the little pieces that fell on the ground.
Thank you, Ocho.
Virgil would telepathically say to the dog to watch Beren, and he might be a threat.
I want to look at Beren and, like, see how he's looking.
You've never seen him look more like angry. The wand is still out.
I'm gonna let that stand. I'm gonna take my knife away from Virgil's throat and head over to stand next to Beren.
Would like to put
And-
the two shards like on the table, but then I want to inspect the little small pyramid with inscriptions.
Yeah, so the pyramid, Ocho, it's made of obsidian and it has inscriptions in it. And you can tell this is an ancient. It's just, you can tell just by touching it how old this is. And it's inscribed in ancient Draconic. And you're getting very good at reading ancient Draconic. You've been doing a lot of it lately. And it's inscribed in such a way that you almost read one side after the other, like each side, all of the four sides of it have inscriptions. I'm assuming you're gonna internalize this and not share it right away.
Yeah, first he would just be doing this in his head.
First side says, "In the wake of the weeping land, when the fires of morning fade and only gray remains, one shall rise, unbroken in body, but his soul shall twist beneath the weight of death's silence. He shall walk in shadow, his heart chained to the darkness he could not flee." Side 2. "Yet from the deep abyss, where no flame dares flicker, a voice shall call to another, one with blackened heart, stirring the embers of a long-forgotten light. He too will rise, though the path before him is wrought with ash and silver." The third side, it says, "Two shall stand upon the precipice, bearing the fang forged in the heavens. The serpent's blood shall spill, and with it the storm shall break. In that final breath, one must choose. The chains shall either shatter, freeing the cold sun to bring darkness once more, or a heart must be given, bound in eternal dusk, to seal the darkness forevermore."
Joe's just shaking his head like, holy shit.
You feel like those three sides are kind of complete, like that. So those are like the the three edges, and there's a bit inscribed on the bottom, but you feel like that's a complete set right there. The bottom says,
Made in China.
Made it title.
That's good.
"That's funny."
Sorry, I had to.
That's so good.
The bottom says, "They are not alone, for others too bear the mark of fate. One forged from strife, a soul bound by unyielding metal and scarred by memories of a war never forgotten. Another whose flame kindles passion and sorrow in equal measure, leaving only ash in the hearts she touches. One who walks with the winds, unseen and untethered, yet bound by whispers of a pact never spoken. And another torn between light and shadow, her fate a thread fraying at the edges, pulled towards salvation or ruin by forces unseen. Their paths, like shifting stars, converge in the dark before the dawn.
I can't wait for Ocho to share all that so we can react to it.
I'm not sure how Ocho's going to do that either.
Well, in the meantime, I think Beren's still, like, very much pointing his wand at Virgil, who just destroyed the sword, so...
Yeah, he's like,
Definitely.
what the fuck, Virgil? That's it, man. Like, I've put up with this shit for so long. It's nonstop with you. What is the shit that fell out of the sword? Ocho, what is that pyramid in your hand?
I would like to have the wolf start growling at Beren.
I'm gonna point at Virgil and at the wolf like I can't decide who to point at and go, "You are not helping!"
I'm gonna put your dog down too, Virgil.
You can certainly try. But you only get one of us. Unless you want to call a truce and discover what was in your magic sword.
What is it, Ocho?
Ocho holding this black obsidian pyramid with all these etchings on it. He holds it up and he goes,
It's a prophecy. About us.
Can't know that.
and then Ocho would start to kind of reread out that last chunk and try to make the comparisons about how it's about some of the people in this room.
So just the fourth stanza is what you read.
He would start with the fourth to kind of really get their attention.
Well, that does seem oddly reminiscent of the people in this room. I'll give you that.
What did you say about the leaves only ashes and the heart she touches?
It could be about anyone.
Could be.
He kind of slowly lowers his wand.
You know, I'm not always trying to stab people. Sometimes my intuition is right.
We have not established that yet.
Let's see. We didn't have any idea about what the sword did. And now we have a whole prophecy.
Yes, and prophecies have never led anyone down the wrong path in pursuit of what they thought was right. Now we have one less weapon that can contact the darkness. Do you remember when we were attacked in the cave where we found this sword, and nothing we did anything except stabbing it? I do.
Yes.
What does the rest say, Ocho?
Ocho recaps the first 3 stanzas.
What the fuck? Beren says as you read it.
So when Ocho reads the line about he shall walk in shadow, his heart chained to the darkness he could not flee, Carlotta's gonna look really, really hard at Virgil's chest. Or the dragon's notice.
I could be talking about anybody.
Don't repeat what I've said.
Well, Baron, you think your silver flame friends will know anything about that?
No.
Question.
Good idea.
Are you still the chosen one without your sword? Or is that, like, one and the same? Just curious.
Everyone that Ocho just described are the chosen ones. There's 6 marked by prophecy.
Seems that way.
Well, we gotta find this sword, this fang forged in the heavens. It's the only thing that can spill the serpent's blood. Then after that, the 2 need to make a choice.
Seems they do. Well, I wouldn't begin to know where we start in finding a sword forged in the heavens.
Based on what Ocho found earlier, it would seem we start with the Greensinger druids.
What did Ocho find earlier?
Ocho just starts looking at Carlotta, kind of giving her the side eye, like,
Ixnay on the sword A. Ishtay.
Carlotta says, well, given that Virgil destroyed Beren's sword, I think we owe Beren something. Especially if we're all involved in this prophecy.
Ocho sighs and goes,
Okay.
It waits hidden where none may tread, but those whom the prophecy marks.
That's us.
Wait,
Does sound convenient.
there's 6 people in this prophecy, and there's only 4 of us standing here right now. Who are the other 2?
I think the one who walks the winds is probably Sublime. Ocho, do you have a way to get in contact with her?
Ocho thinks for a moment. He's like, oh yeah.
What about the last one?
Well, I hate to say it, but have you considered your sister?
She does seem very closely tied to all this, and if you're a chosen one, why not her?
And it also seems like it could be Amelia Brand.
I suppose that's also a possibility.
And it might be Solara. I hope it isn't, but it might be.
I mean, how would we even figure that out? I suppose that's the kind of thing in a prophecy where when you know, you know.
Beren, aren't you supposed to be good at this prophecy nonsense?
I mean, didn't Ocho's say, the sword is hidden where none may tread, but those whom the prophecy marks? I'm gonna go out on a limb and say that 6 of us need to go, and if we bring the wrong person, doesn't sound like they're gonna be coming with.
Or coming back. Ocho questions.
Maybe we bring all 5 of us, including Sublime, and then all of our possible contenders for the last person, and then we let the prophecy sort it out that way.
Wait, what's the deal with you and Sublime, Ocho?
He works for me.
Oh.
How did that happen?
Oh, come on, Ocho's a businessman now.
Ocho owns small business.
Yes, I just didn't picture Sublime as an employee. Genasi don't normally do that sort of thing.
Yeah, she wanted to work. She wanted to work for me.
I'm fascinated to speak with her about that.
If Ocho could sweat, he would be sweating.
Well, I've had a long day. Sounds like we need to talk to these druids. Sounds like we need to talk to Sublime. Sounds like we need to think about who the 6th is. But I don't got much left in me for today.
Speaking about your long day, did you figure out who's the new sheriff?
No, Thorn and Solar are still thinking about that.
Oh, good. Say, Baron, when Thorn decided he needed a new sheriff, how much of a fight did you put up when he said he was going to axe me?
Virgil, remember you don't have Peacekeeper right now. Are you sure you want to have this conversation?
Yeah, I do.
Give him Peacekeeper, and
If you're going to do that, you can go outside.
give him Peacekeeper and Virgil. Let's have a private word.
Outside?
Ocho goes and stands by the door, holding Peacekeeper out of the door.
Please.
Oh, yes, because I would love for there to be a duel in my place of business. You can go in the alley out back.
Again, Ocho motions again, the sword out of the door.
Trust
I
me.
promise I won't break anything, Carlotta, unless it's attached to Beren.
Well, I'm particularly attached to Beren, but very well. And if you break anything, you will owe me an undisclosed favor to be cashed at my convenience.
I don't envy that. Virgil will hold his hands up like, I won't break anything.
Good. Carlotta gives both of them a really, really cold glare
Ocho leaves Peacekeeper just leaning up against the wall.
and then shuts the door. Carlotta's going to, ear to the door. I want to see if I can overhear anything.
Yeah, I just pictured her grabbing a glass and sticking it to the door.
Better get that, he says and nods at Peacekeeper.
Oh, yeah?
You're gonna need it, Virgil.
Virgil will walk up and get it then.
Virgil. We were best friends once. There was nobody I trusted more than you. Look what fucking happened to us. I'm getting these visions from the Silver Flame. You're killing people left and right. You've got darkness literally in your chest. But it doesn't change the fact we'll always be those 2 kids who trusted each other.
If you'll remember, in all of our interactions, it's never once been me holding Peacekeeper to your throat. It's always been your wand pointed at me. And yeah, I'm killing people. But I want you to show me one innocent person that I've taken the life of. You think I killed Garrick? I told you what happened. Yeah, I stabbed Thorn. He's not dead. I also told you about the darkness. I told you all of that. All of it.
You're letting it take you, Virgil. Don't tell me you never had Peacekeeper leveled at me, because you almost killed me on the train. We don't know what happened to Garrick. You almost killed Thorn. You almost killed me. Don't try
Never
to...
intentionally. Never.
Never intentionally tried to hurt someone, Virgil, but you never intentionally tried to stop whatever this is that's taking you either. I think you like what it's doing to you.
I'm not gonna lie to you, Beren. I feel good. I feel real good. Better than I have in a long time. But that doesn't mean I'm not in control of my faculties. I told you after shoving that shard in my chest that I felt like I had more control. And then you and Thorn conspired behind my back. What do I do now, Beren?
You stopped the fucking end of the world, Virgil, with me.
Why, I gotta worry about you trying to kill me behind my back every 2 seconds? You and your silver flame friends? How's that supposed to work, Beren?
Just the same that I gotta worry about you putting your axe through me, Virgil, because you almost did it once. You did it to Thorn.
Maybe my body did it to Thorn, but my will didn't do it to Thorn.
Well, it still happened, Virgil. It still happened, man. Yeah, you weren't in control, but something was in control. Something's gonna take control of you again.
Maybe it will. But just know that if I ever put Peacekeeper into your chest, it's not by my own will. And if you ever level your wand at my chest and take me out, it is by your own will.
Yeah, well, it's never gonna happen, Virgil.
Yeah, we'll see. And that, Virgil nod to the dog and walk out the back door.
Carlotta heard everything.
Yeah, yay. Virgil trip on Carlotta as he was walking out.
No, we're doing out the back door, but when
Okay.
you come in, Baron's just sitting in a chair looking just dejected.
I get the impression that could have gone better.
I'm trying, Carlotta.
No.
I don't know.
I'm going to get out a drink and just wordlessly pour him a glass. So he looks like he needs it.
Tell me I'm not crazy. Or tell me I am if I am.
About what?
Virgil.
There's darkness. We've all seen it. But we all like Virgil for a reason. I think the sheriff that I became friends with, the sheriff you fought beside in the war, I think he's still there, and it might just be wishful thinking, but there might be a way to get him away from what he's doing. At the very least, we can put off whatever's happening to him until we have the bandwidth to address it. Currently, we have a world to save, and whatever's happening to Virgil is undoubtedly making him strong, which we could use if the fate of the world is at stake. I hope it isn't, but that's the impression.
That's what scares me the most, Carlotta, is that we need Virgil to keep doing what he's doing to stop this darkness. The thing that scares me the most is that when it's all said and done, it's gonna take him, and he's not gonna be the same person again.
Whoever's doing this to him can try to take him, but you'll have to fight us for him. That's all we can promise ourselves, but it's a promise nonetheless. Nothing's going to turn Virgil into a monster without a fight.
I think I hear his dog outside.
Virgil heard everything. I can use the dog's ears as my own ears.
Yeah.
They got good ears.
Yeah. If he was listening, he did, yeah.
Yeah. They do.
I think we should name the dog Better Solara.
Its name is very on the nose Shadow.
I'm going to ask Beren, so what do you think Silver Flame's role in all of this is? Solara, Lucien, and even Thorn. Where do you see them playing into this?
The Silver Flame is what binds the overlords. They are sworn to fight evil and demons and fiends. They're zealots, no matter what politics they get involved in. If it's a matter of ancient evil, I know they'll drop everything and they'll give everything to stop it.
But if we're involved in the prophecy that involves it, what happens if they decide that the best way to stop the evil from happening is by going through us?
Well, I'd say that we got an ace up our sleeve because Solara thinks I'm the voice of the flame.
I don't know how I feel about someone else being the voice of the flame. It's fine.
I think she likes me.
Yes, I did get that impression. How do you feel about that?
It sounds useful for me and you.
That's what I hoped you'd say.
Let's get out of here. It's been a long day.
I'll meet you upstairs in a bit. I need to check on Ocho.
Ocho.
See,
Carlotta approaches you.
Miss Carlotta?
Yes, you mentioned that Sublime works for you. I would love some context on that.
Well, you see, I was going to make a sign for help. She wants to help, so therefore, she works for me.
All right. I will see how that plays out. And in the meantime, how much does she know of what we've all talked about?
She only has the book. She can't read the book, but she may bring it to someone who can. She doesn't know anything about the prophecy.
Interesting.
Ocho did the thing that you told me, where not to tell everybody everything.
Good job, Ocho. It's exactly the sort of attitude that we need if we're going to get wrapped up in a prophecy. So you said you had a way to get in contact with Sublime?
Ocho thinks he has a way, so Ocho would kind of play it off like, yeah, she'll be at the shop for
When
work.
you see her, I think it would be a good idea to bring her to the FLINT. Get everyone involved in this prophecy in one place.
Yep, we will come here for lunch.
Perfect. It might be a good idea not to mention the prophecy just yet. Wait and see what the tone is. And I also wanted to ask, what do you make of what's been going on with Virgil lately?
Virgil needs help, but Virgil looks the best he's ever been. I think Ocho can see that too. Honestly, this is what Ocho thinks. Ocho is reading the prophecy, and there's the part where a heart must be given, and Ocho would say to Carlotta,
Maybe it's his heart.
I'm hoping that the prophecy isn't literal, but if it is, that seems like it could be an acceptable sacrifice. We truly can't stop Virgil from going down the road that he's chosen, but let's keep that idea just between the two of us. I don't want Virgil to think that we want him to be expendable, and I don't want Beren to get any ideas before it's time.
Ocho agrees.
Thank you, Ocho. That's all I wanted to talk to you about, unless there's anything else.
Nope. But Ocho did want to do one quick thing as he walks back to his shop to sleep. So as Ocho was walking back, he would take out the list of duellists, and I would scribble down on their red.
This afternoon cannot count as a duel.
It was a massacre.
As you look down at it, Virgil,
No,
Ocho, you see the names you've written down. Some of them have changed.
okay.
It used to say Iron Clint. It now says Primero. When you write down on their red, Virgil moves down, Beren moves down, and Ondare Red takes the second place underneath Primero.
Okay, Ocho sees that and he takes a big gulp and goes home.
Is Ocho gonna tell Virgil about that tomorrow?
That's just an ace up Ocho's sleeve if he needs it.
If Virgil's ever on like a murder rampage, that's how we snap him out of it. Ondare Red's technically a better duelist than you. What?
Definitely. His ego will take a hit immediately.
Virgil, as you're laying in bed tonight, your wolf comes up to you, and it opens its mouth, and the dusk shard that was inside the sword, it drops onto your lap.
Virgil pet it. Good boy. And I'll pick up the dust shard.
Feels good in your hands.
Is this would I get the sense this is the same shard that I saw in my vision?
Yes.
Okay. I don't even know where Virgil is sleeping now. he's not the sheriff anymore.
Oh yeah.
Virgil has a home.
that was where he was sleeping. Virgil's homeless.
I'm pretty
I just
sure.
forgot.
I don't know if you still
Slinks got
want it,
room.
but last session, I'm pretty sure you asked her if you could sleep at the FLINT now because.
Oh yeah, that's right. Okay, I'll be in the same room that Carlotta let me before. I would try to look around the room of a place to stash this that wouldn't be overly obvious.
Yeah, you can hide it pretty well, but when you hide it and it's out of your possession, you miss it.
Like drawn to it.
Yeah, you feel better when it's on you.
Okay.
That's not a sign of addiction.
Right. Yeah, I'll stash it for now. As kind of uncomfortable as that is.
Does your dog bark at all in the night? How close?
No, he's a good boy.
How close are the rooms on the upper floor? If he's not barking, then it's all good.
I suppose he would bark when he's happy. So if I pet him and told him he was a good boy after he got me the dust shard, he'd probably bark excitedly.
If the dog barks, I want to like kick Virgil's door and say, "I will make you homeless." You know, when I said you could move in here, we hadn't discussed the pet policy.
I'll work on it. I've had him for one day. Are you gonna kick him out?
I'm thinking about kicking someone out.
Has Ocho noticed that he doesn't have the one shard anymore? He's only got the Dawn shard?
Yeah.
Ocho is almost more afraid to tell Carlotta about that in the morning than the prophecy.
He's like, that's the second shard that's gotten out of my head. Shit. Ocho's the worst shard keeper.
So morning comes earlier for others. Who's the first up? Ocho?
Right, yep. Ocho would be up. This is day 2 after the attack. Yeah, let's give him a full weekend. Day 2 off. He would just be in his shop, just kind of puttering around, looking at all the stuff, opening up every drawer now, like really getting into the nooks and crannies of the shop.
As you're doing that, there's a knock at the door.
Oh, she came early. Ocho's impressed. Ocho walks up to the door and opens it up.
Ready for my first day, boss.
Ah, good worker. I like to see.
And Ocho opens the door and steps aside and welcomes her in.
This book.
Okay, so first, this corner, and Ocho sections off a whole part, and he goes, and then he hands her a broom, and he goes, all swept.
No cobwebs, dust all clean. Come see me when you're done.
So this book you gave me for the night, I went and
Ocho just walking away. like walking away. Like, no,
I
you're
have-
here for this. We
I-
will talk about this when Carlotta's awake. And we got like 4 hours. You came so early. This
So
is
much
good.
time.
Yeah.
Okay. You got a pretty good shop here. You can afford to hire a maid. Ocho, I am not, and I never will be your maid. Let's get let's set the tone here.
Ocho scowls, but
Let's go talk to Carlotta.
No, not right now.
She's a Genasi. She can handle it. We're tough.
and then Ocho thinks to herself, you know what? Yeah. You can go wake her up this morning. That's kind of like the when you don't know yet. So sure, you can go wake up her and Beren. And Ocho eagerly goes to the door and like, okay, let's go.
Okay, well, come when you're done, whatever you're doing, because we need to talk about this book and the lake. Okay, bye.
I mean, unless Ocho didn't find anything cool in the shop. Ocho,
I mean, you found a lot of interesting stuff, like all of Atari's old. There's like Atari's weight rack in the back. There's like some prototype. Like, I don't think she quite moved on to like a new weapon prototype, but there's some different dragon shards, like red ones, blue ones that she's kind of experimenting with. Definitely lots of like Atari didn't have time to start a project, but you get the sense that you have all the tools here to start whatever project that Ocho wants to start.
alrighty, let's head to an early morning at the bar.
What's Virgil up to?
Virgil would get up, get dressed, and then immediately head down to the bar to get a drink.
Let's say Jacob is on the morning shift. I'm assuming it's like 7 a.m. and he sees you and you ask him for a drink and he's like, yeah, you haven't changed, Virgil, because Jacob was a siren soldier during the war. Some things never change, eh, Virg?
No, they don't.
And he'll pour 2 drinks and have one with you.
Good man.
I assume he's drinking on the clock because Carlotta's not awake.
As you are sharing a drink with Jacob, Sublime walks in.
Wow. I haven't seen you in some time.
Hey, Sheriff.
Former sheriff.
Former Sheriff. There's a story there, but I need to talk to Carlotta, you, Ocho. There's something really important we got to talk about.
Sorry, Ocho would like to enter the bar, and as Sublime's saying, I need to talk with the 3 of us. Ocho would like stand behind Sublime, wink at Virgil, and go,
Yeah, she's gonna go wake up Carlotta.
Okay. Well, I'll wait right down here for you.
What? She's up. You want me to go upstairs? Is this guy not gonna go fetch her? And she points at Jacob.
Jacob, do you normally wake Carlotta this early in the morning?
No, sir.
Well, her room is right up those stairs to the left.
Right up there.
Yep.
Girl's got to do everything herself, and she trudges up. And there's a loud knock on Carlotta's door. I feel like Beren has his wand. He's like, you want me to kill them?
Yes. With extreme prejudice.
I will kill you. Go away. And you would hear, it's Sublime. We need to talk.
Carlotta sits up, eyes still closed. Is there nothing else you could be doing until a reasonable hour to conduct business?
We're saving the world, Carlotta.
Well, if the world's going to be worth living in, then the world doesn't need to be saved until 10.
So are you coming or not?
Not! I had to wake up to save the world early yesterday, and the day before that. I've had it. First person who opens that door is getting a firebolt in the face.
And Beren was like, he was getting up. Wait, don't, I'm gonna go because I'm awake now. Please don't fireball me.
Fine. No, you're fine. If you start coffee, I will do whatever the opposite of firebolting you in the face is.
Coffee it is. And he leaves with Sublime. They come downstairs, Baron and Sublime. And Virgil and Ocho there.
Three of us are snickering as they come down the stairs.
Yeah,
We are.
Sublime.
Me,
Sublime is
Virgil,
like
and Jacob.
Sublime is like fuming.
Yeah, we're really soaking that one in.
Her hair is just like she's an air genasi, so her hair is just always kind of like in a little bit of like a there's like a fan blowing on her, and her hair is just like perfectly swaying in the breeze. Always just looks just magical. But now it's just like there's like a storm in her hair, and it's just like blowing everywhere, and it's a mess, and she's just seething.
That's the secret flint and steel hazing.
She gives Ocho the middle finger.
She's gonna fit right in.
Yep, she will.
We might as well just start this conversation early because we've already got the most beautiful genasi in Hope's Edge here, so no need to wait for anyone else.
Oh god. Another drink.
Baron calls Jacob to the back, and he's like, "Hey, get a. Where's the sacks? I need the whole sack of coffee, like numerous pounds. How many bags do we have?" And Jacob goes in the back, and you guys just start to smell like
Gasoline coffee.
It's not straight up acid. Carlotta's not interested. It won't do anything.
She has a special cup for it.
drinking this early, Virgil. Really?
What is it? I'm on vacation.
Sublime's like, fair enough, and then she motions to Jacob for a drink as well. He brings like some cups back, and you see like one of them, like it's like sludge. Like it's not even it's at that state where liquid becomes solid. It's like somewhere in between.
That's a cup of
This
mud.
coffee needs to be a gel.
She like grabs one of the coffees, pours the whiskey in the coffee, and starts drinking that. Well, you guys are a lively bunch in the morning.
Not all of us are early risers. Except Ocho.
So, this book. Did Ocho tell you about this book?
He did.
So, what should we do today?
Well, we had discussed meeting with Ironbark.
Have you ever been to a Greensinger party, Virgil?
Can't say that I have.
It shows. There's no party like a Greensinger party. They party like...
Everybody know ain't no party like a Diddy party, so.
Yeah, that's what's up. Yeah.
After federal agents raided the homes of rapper P. Diddy, aka Sean Combs, on March 25th in connection with a federal sex trafficking investigation, an old video of Los Angeles Lakers superstar LeBron James on Instagram Live with the rapper has gone viral. In the video, James can be seen praising Diddy's parties, saying that there ain't no party like a Diddy party.
Drink and dance, and they love freely between each other.
I'm not sure I like where that's going.
You could use a bit of the Greensinger lifestyle for a while, Virgil.
I don't know about that. But I won't turn down whiskey.
Jacob pours you another.
Good man.
Sublime's just... So do we wait?
Por supuesto.
But for Carlotta, if we want anybody to do anything that we would like them to do, then yes.
Well, Virgil's gonna be drunk by the time she gets up. I might be too. If Jacob keeps pouring Jacob another.
You know what they say, you can get just as much work done drunk as you can sober. It's just funner.
That's probably about when Carlotta gets downstairs, and when Virgil says that, she says, I'm starting to see why people had a problem with you being the sheriff. Right, where's the coffee?
Everybody's uptight.
Beren holds out the sludge.
Oh, excellent, thank you. Carlotta drinks the whole thing and says, where's the rest of it?
He goes back and grabs the pot.
I'm just gonna drink it from the pot, pour a little bit of whiskey in.
Do you want a straw?
What do you take me for?
I don't think it'll go through a straw.
Now Sublime can talk.
I'm gonna herd everyone into the back room.
Well, Ocho read you what the book says. A sword.
Yes.
Yes.
Do you have any additional insight that the book couldn't provide?
Heart of Endless Spring certainly has to do with the manifest zone in the lake. The Greensingers have a relationship with the Archfey, the Queen of Roses. I'm certain they're tied.
That's a
Think
good
that we'll
place
have to
start.
go into the lake to deal with this?
I mean, I think we should talk to the druids, but there was also a part at the end where it said only those whom the prophecy marks. So I don't know exactly who the prophecy marks, but I guess there's only one way to find out.
Oh, there are several ways to find out. Beren here is a cleric of the Silver Flame, knows about these things.
I do.
Yeah, come on, chosen one.
He just kind of gives like Carlotta look like, how much do I say kind of look.
Do we tell her of the prophecy?
Okay, what prophecy?
I think Virgil would just say she's a part of the prophecy.
What's going on here?
And then Ocho really proudly wants to hold up this thing that he knows Sublime will kind of flip over. And he holds up the little obsidian pyramid.
I can't read this old ass draconic. What does it say?
Ocho, why don't you read the final stanza?
They are not alone, for others too bear the mark of fate. One forged from strife, a soul bound by unyielding metal and scarred by memories of war, never forgotten. Another whose flame kindles passion and sorrow in equal measure, leaving only ash in the hearts she touches. One who walks with the winds, unseen and untethered, yet bound by whispers of a pact never spoken.
Holy shit, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit, holy shit.
There's more.
And another, torn between light and shadow, her fate a thread fraying at the edges, pulled toward salvation, or ruined by forces unseen. Their paths, like shifting stars, converge in the dark before the dawn.
So 4?
There are 2 others mentioned previously, and we believe that they're in this room with us.
Holy shit. We gotta go talk to the druids.
I'm not sure we should talk to the druids until we've identified the 6th.
Who's the 6th? One was definitely me. I kind of zoned out after that.
Really, we couldn't tell.
She's just like, yeah, her hair is just like back to just like perfectly billowing in the wind. And she's just got this air of like, holy shit, I'm important. I knew it. I think we gotta talk to the druids, and it might... We share none of this with them. Like, this does not leave this room. The 5 of us. That's it. This is us. No one else. Agreed?
Agreed.
Okay, that being said, we gotta...
Virgil, do you agree?
Virgil,
I was drinking.
wake up. I kick his chair.
Yeah.
Did you fall
agreed.
asleep when I reread the prophecy?
Your voice is just so monotone. It's very relaxing.
The gist of this is that we're not going to share the prophecy with anyone outside of this room, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, we shouldn't do that. Knowledge is power. But you might want to talk to Beren.
Knowledge is power, Beren says. Sublime is like, okay, we gotta go talk to the druids. 5 of us, road trip. Now, I said road trip, but it's literally like 5 minutes down the road to their little commune.
Give me 15 minutes. I'll let Nellie know she's in charge and grab some provisions for the road. You might say it's 5 minutes away, but last time we went on a quick little road trip, we were mysteriously gone for a month. I'd like to be prepared.
Yeah, that's a good point. That was rough.
I'm gonna go
Yeah.
give Nellie some really detailed instructions about what to do while I'm gone, and if I'm gone for like a different amount of time, or if it seems like I've died, just assume I'm fine, stuff like that.
Give her a heads up about Slink too. That would be important.
Also, don't
let's
don't
start
turn
giving
your back
Slinks
on him.
like fewer hours. Let's keep an eye on him.
Yeah.
Let's have him
good
cook
idea.
vegan food.
Yeah, keep him away from the meats. Good idea.
So once you've got your contingency plans in place and you start to make your way to the Greensinger commune, their little community by the lake, as you approach, you actually see as you walk down to the lake that there's just all these like blankets all laid out kind of around the edge of the lake, and there's this nice little beach. It's not like a sandy beach, but it's like a rocky beach, and the waves of this lake just gently roll up. And as you approach the lake, as you know, you almost feel refreshed because the waters are extremely pure, since the manifest zone seems to bless the lake with like fey energy, and the waters are incredibly pure. And there's just all these, the Greensinger commune, there's maybe like 20 of them, but they're all just kind of like lounging around by the lakeside, just looking, and you can almost see like a ripple on the lake today, just this ripple of energy towards the center. And amongst the people just kind of sitting and taking in the lake, you see a warforged Ironbark, and he's clad in roses all over him.
Any of us met Ironbark before?
I have.
But do any of us
Oh,
know
was
him
it-
outside of that?
Yeah, you definitely would have interacted with them on numerous occasions. They just haven't featured heavily in the campaign, but they're members of the community.
Perfect.
When you approach Ironbark, he gives a little bit of a scowl at Virgil, but the rest he kind of like greets you with open arms.
I'm gonna look at Virgil like, how did you alienate this person?
I don't know how I do what I do.
Out of character, we recall when Virgil went to investigate where Garrick was killed, Ironbark came up to him and turned into a horse, and there was a weird interaction about riding him. He said to Virgil, he said, I saw you kill Garrick. You stabbed him.
You did.
You killed Garrick with your own hand, and Virgil kind of got away from that unscathed, but he claimed to see Virgil kill Garrick. But he's obviously kept that to himself.
I'll go up to Ironbark and say, oh, I'm so sorry for interrupting. We hate to come with such short notice, especially this early in the morning. I'm gonna glare at Sublime. But we were hoping to have a quick word with you.
Well, it's never too early, Miss Kincaid, to come to the lake to breathe in the pure waters of Thelanis. You're always welcome. Join me by the lakeside. Its presence of the Manifest Zone is quite strong today, and in fact, I do believe over the next few days, it's only going to grow in intensity.
Come on, everyone. Let's go ponder the Manifest Zone.
So what brings you? I haven't seen you out here in quite some time, Miss Kincaid.
We're actually here to ask you a few questions.
I'll ask away. I think Sublime just kind of walks up and she's like, tell us more about the Manifest Zone. And Ironbark just says, well, within that Manifest Zone, within Thelanis, lies the Queen of Roses. And it is a radiant and enchanting domain within Thelanis. And her realm, the Queen of Roses, it embodies beauty and grace, but also the dangers of the eternal spring, where magic flows freely and time is a fluid concept. The Queen of Roses maintains a court, an elegant court filled with knights and nobles, mythical creatures, and all are bound by the customs of courtly love, chivalry, and honor.
I am curious, what Thelanis' relationship is with Eberron. Specifically, we hear a lot about, ancient dragons, since we mine dragon shards in Hope's Edge. I wondered what your take on that was, and what Thelanis thinks of it.
Well, Thalon is another plane of existence, such that the plane we live on, there's boundaries between these planes. We're fortunate that sometimes these boundaries are weak. You can often glimpse images of Thalanis, the Feywild. But there are times, very rare, where one can move between these planes. And some Greensingers are known to have visited Thalanis itself. It's something that would only happen rarely, depending on the strength of the manifest zone. The lake here, maybe once every few thousand years, one could pass through, but I'd say the Fae are unconcerned by dragon shards. It's unlikely that any dangers of the material plane pose any threat to Thalanis.
Interesting. And you mentioned Eternal Spring?
Yes, the Endless Spring.
Is that in Thalanis?
That's the Queen of Rose's domain. So in Thalanis, there's numerous domains and archfey that rule. Through this manifest zone, the domain, it's just a realm of perpetual spring, lush meadows, towering forests, flowers filled with gardens that stretch as far as the eye can see.
Is it the sort of place that it's possible for people from our plane to get to?
It wouldn't be impossible, but again, this manifest zone is not extremely strong, so maybe something that could happen every few thousand years if we're lucky when the planes align such.
I'm gonna look at Sublime and see if she's got any additional insights on the sort of question to ask or what we might be trying to get.
She kind of like gives you a look of like, I don't want to give too much away. She would just say, is there like anything else about the Endless Spring that you can tell us? Yeah. Ironbark says like the realm holds courtly love in the highest regard. Only the couples who've demonstrated the most true, selfless love are given places of prominence at the Queen's side. Those people who are most honored are not the fiercest warriors or the wealthiest nobles, but like you said, those who embody the most genuine love.
I know that you also mentioned something about chivalry. Is combat any sort of a feature of that culture in Thalanis that you know of? Specifically, are there any well-known weapons?
Oh, certainly. Well, there's knights and jousting and duels, but there's also heroic quests. And there's a lady in the lake and a sword set in stone, waiting to be drawn by a hero.
I love stories like that. Can you tell me anything else? Sounds fascinating. Love to know more about that sword.
What's it made out of?
Unfortunately, I don't know too much more. I am trying to study more. It's tough to truly know without visiting Thalanis itself. What I glean is through communications I have with the Queen of Roses. I do think that there is a favorable conjunction of the planes soon. If there's any chance of communicating, it would be then.
The junction?
What's your function?
You think that that sort of occurrence would make it possible to travel to and from Thalanis?
Well, theoretically it's possible, but the odds would be, it would have to be a once in, not just a once in a lifetime, a once in 100 lifetimes chance of entering.
I'm going to glare at Virgil and Beren and say, yes, we do seem to have a way of playing to those odds, don't we?
Sublime kind of gives you a look, Carlotta, and she's like, let's go.
Well, if you are able to discern anything else about any of the stories that you talked about, I'm trying to learn a few more things to tell people about at the bar. Sadly running out of stories.
I'll be sure to do that, Carlotta. I'll write you a book about it.
Be excellent, and do feel free to stop by the FLINT for a drink whenever you want to.
Thank you.
I'm gonna stand up and kind of herd everybody away as fast as possible without it looking conspicuous.
Yeah.
Ocho gives a bow.
Yeah, he bows back. Brother.
Virgil still has his whiskey glass. He just takes a sip and tips his hat. Turns out my job was the only thing holding me back from being accomplishing great things as an alcoholic.
As you get back to the bar, Sublime looks at Carlotta. And then she looks at Beren. And then she looks at Ocho. And she kind of smiles. And then she looks at Virgil.
And then Ocho looks at Carlotta.
When she looks at Virgil, she kind of raises an eyebrow. So, we need to find our sixth. Do we have any idea now after talking with Ironbark?
Don't know. I do get the unpleasant feeling that we might end up going to Thalanis.
Yeah, that seems inevitable.
Well, I'm gonna level with you guys. You know that I'm a warlock. My patron is an archfey, and it's not the Queen of Roses. It's an archfey that, let's just say, has a prickly relationship with the Queen of Roses.
Oh, I get it. Because roses.
Thank you, Virgil.
My patron wants me to get something from Thalanis, from the Queen. And you all are gonna help me get it. In exchange, we will get the sword.
I don't think that's an even trade, seeing as failure to get the sword means we all die. Including you.
Also, I'm pretty sure that involves pissing off a deity, and never seems to be a good idea.
Yes, we do seem to have our fair share of deities that don't like us.
Especially the deity that lives closest to Hope's Edge, it seems.
Hmm.
My patron can deal with any repercussions, but do you think this sword is important?
I think if it's engraved in a prophecy, it certainly doesn't seem trivial.
Well, then it sounds like the six of us need to go get it, and the only way that I'm going is if you swear to me and be bound by pact that you will help me retrieve the crown of the Queen of Roses.
And it looks like we're all going to die in the next cold sun attack.
Yeah, and this won't be our problem anymore after all.
Oh, that is convenient, isn't it?
Yeah.
We come back to a ghost town because we've been gone for 300 years.
Right, the
Yeah,
Fallout
we
games.
spent 8 sessions in the Fey world, and Hope's ended.
Everything's just on fire.
Everyone's
Brett
got cell phones.
Brett rolled a dice, and it decided that every session was 15 years, and things got out of hand.
We've had an entire industrial revolution. Everyone's texting.
We're basically just in our normal world now. This place sucks.
Again, she just kind of looks at the five of us and she says, the only way you can enter this realm and achieve a place of honor at the Queen of Roses court and have any hopes of obtaining the sword are to go and prove your love. So, Virgil, you better track down our sixth. I think the rest of us are covered.
Ocho would then have an idea. He says,
I have a list.
and 50% of that list is in the prophecy. What are the chances that another name from that list is one of the 6? And then he puts it down to then show Virgil and Beren Onder's name on it.
Hold on. Why am I so far down the list?
Is that our biggest concern right now?
Why is Anders
The guy is drunk, but there he goes.
wasn't on there before? Did you write his name on there?
I was curious.
What the heck? I think this is broken.
Virgil, have you won a duel in the last year?
Well, I
Exactly.
mean,
All right. So, I also think that something we ought to consider, that if Sublime is asking us to take a queen's crown, it seems the sort of thing that monarchs are normally pretty attached to.
yeah, as in on top of their heads.
That's why we're gonna steal it. The heist of the millennium.
Virgil?
Maybe we should talk to Brielle.
Hire Onder Red to steal it. He can get himself killed.
No. I want that honor.
Getting yourself killed? I'm sure we can arrange that. I'm not sold on the idea of pissing off yet another deity. I get the impression that not stealing from this queen would upset Sublime's patron.
Maybe we can convince her to give us her crown. Maybe we don't have to steal it. Maybe if we prove, if one of the couples who go proves that they have the most undying, true, selfless love, maybe she'll give it to us. She looks
Is
at
anyone in
Ocho.
this room or in this prophecy in a relationship that has lasted more than 2 months? Show of hands.
Never seen you looking so lovely as you did tonight. I've never seen
Ocho
you
slowly
shine
puts up his
so
hand, but like he's standing behind Carlotta.
Romantic relationships. I appreciate the enthusiasm.
Beren is just like, we're so fucked.
So fun.
And that's where we're gonna end this week.
Oh man.
Virgil died and then got a dog.
Yeah, that's awesome.
That's a pretty good session.
Yeah, it's a solid session.